And greetings and welcome to the QCast. This is season 5, episode 36. It's a 2 QCast day. Earlier, we talked to Marco Anderson from the Illinois Wesleyan men's team. Now it's time to shift back to the women's team. And we have Caite Knutson here, a 6 foot forward. Are we calling you a forward, Caite, nowadays? I mean, I think you think you're a guard. Are you a forward? Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll go with the forward.
We're going to go with forward. Caitie's a forward. She's a fifth year player. So she's a rare Illinois Wesleyan fifth year player. We'll get into that. She's from Collinsville High School. She was a transfer from Division 1 SIU Edwardsville. We'll talk about that. But Caite, it's great to have you on the CUCAST. First, I'm noticing things in the background. First, very festive. These lights, are these like you didn't take the Christmas lights down, or is this just the usual look there in the room with the lights?
Well, hi, and thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Thank you.
The lights in the background, I love Christmas, and I have not taken them down yet. I just can't get myself to do it yet. So
It
it makes me happy. We're
it
just
looks great.
starting my last semester in college. We got to keep the vibes up.
It looks great. It looks great. I don't think you should take those down. It's like the party lights thing. It's very cool. And then takeaway two in the background is the shoes. Now that looks like my wife's closet, and I didn't know that a college kid had shoes like that. So are you like a fashionista, or tell me about like what's going on with all the shoes back there?
So first off, just what it is, we call it a shoe tree. Me and my dad made it, and
Wow.
so that was a good bonding experience for us, and him teaching me how to be a little bit handy for the future.
It looks
Um,
impressive.
well, thank you. Yeah, we spent quite a few hours on it. But the shoes, it's kind of funny. I don't really wear all of them really at all,
Yeah,
or
that's usually how
often.
it goes. That's how it goes with my wife. She's got all these shoes in the closet. Many of them are very expensive, and I'll be like, "Have you ever worn that one?" And no. So I don't think it's going to change as you get older, Katie. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of presents and people buying them for me, so I haven't had to fork out the money for it, but I'm trying to be appreciative.
Well, it looks great. It's a great background. The lights are great, and I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. You were the toughest scheduling job so far, right? Because you don't check your Twitter DMs, which I respect the heck out of you for. And so I have to thank Sarah Bali because I had to send her on a mission to go find you to see if you would come on the show. Did she find you in practice, or where did she find you there?
It was during our stretching, during our practice the other day. She goes, I need to tell you something. I was like, okay. She was like, you need to respond to Bob Q. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't remember the last time I checked my Twitter DMs, let alone got on Twitter. So I'm so sorry about that.
Well, it's just great to have tracked you down. My goal has been to talk to all 8 from the rotation on such a special season. I feel like this is the kind of season where you want to sort of have things like documented and captured because this is really a special group that comes around. I don't know, once a decade isn't even accurate. This is a really special group. Um, you win a big game yesterday. Let's kind of start there for a second. That North Central game, it never felt super good, right? It was like we were down early, we came back, we took the lead. It felt good for a while, and then they just kept playing, right? They kept playing really hard. They kept making shots. They have some talented players. It got a little bit anxious at the end. I think it was within 3, had to make some free throws. What were your thoughts on the North Central game yesterday, Katie?
Well, I think you kind of hit it. It wasn't comfortable at really any point, even when we were up by, I think, 16 at one point. Um, I think, I mean, they're a conference team. They know us well.
Yeah,
We play conference teams 2 or 3 times a year. So I think to say any conference game is going to be easy would be a lie. And I think we just kept trying to chug along. I don't think we were ever scared we were going to lose. I think we were
right.
all very confident. Every huddle coming together, it was like, come on, let's turn it on right now. Like we're getting this stop. So we were confident. It was just it wasn't comfortable, and we don't like those games, but we've been pulling them out, and I'm really proud of us for that.
Now I listened to Coach Smith. I listened to her post game on the video stream, and then I read her post-game comments in the Panagraph article by Randy Reinhardt. And I'm just going to give you a little heads up, Katie, that coach is not, she's not pleased with that performance. And I think, when do you guys practice next? Tomorrow? You have practice tomorrow? I
Yes, we
guarantee
do.
you, I guarantee you, this isn't going to be the most pleasant practice because coach said that you guys did not listen and that she was very disappointed. So, what do you think? Let's try to get out ahead of this. Let me help you think through this. What do you think she's upset about? What did you guys not listen about? Can you do you have any guesses?
Well, we did have an after the game talk, and usually we don't. We just go to see our parents and people who came to see us. So we have a little bit of insight.
Okay,
Um,
you already know.
yes.
Okay,
Um, I think it was mostly um, just keeping people in front of us on defense. They had some really quick guards.
right.
And I think honestly, we were giving our best effort. And I'm not a guard. I don't have to chase someone full court down
Right.
so I can't pin it on anybody at all. They had quick guards, and I believe my teammates were trying their best. Um, but obviously, keep someone in front of you. That's what she wants. It's what we got to continue to try to do.
Now I'm a little more of the camp of like we're 15 and 0, we're 6 and 0. We found a way to win the game, but I'm obviously I'm not the one you want to listen to. I'm just the podcaster. So I would like you to listen to Coach Smith tomorrow and whatever's going on there. It's all good. But I mean, 15 and 0 here, Katie. What how are you feeling just like in your wildest dreams when you looked at the schedule this year, which is a nasty schedule, like all these great teams? Did you think in your wildest dreams that you could be 15 and 0? And how does it feel to be sitting here 15 and 0?
To be honest, I don't think we step back or at least I don't step back and enjoy it enough. So I appreciate you saying this. And on our off day, we can really just be like, 15 and 0 is amazing.
Yeah,
We're not done yet by any means, but it's really nice to be like, wow, our hard work since the summer, since September, has really, really paid off and it's going to continue to pay off. Um, so yeah, I of course thought it was possible and I know how good we are and I love my team. So I'm just happy that we fulfilled those dreams and that we're going to keep doing that.
yeah. I hope you guys can all step back and enjoy the ride because it ends quicker than you want it to. Even if you play in the national championship game, it's going to end and you're going to be like, oh my god, it's over. Especially as someone who this is your last year. So I hope you can all just take a step back with every game and appreciate what's going on here because this is a really incredible season. Now, your story is even more interesting, I think, Katie, because you made a decision to return this year for a fifth year. You had that fifth year available to you and you took it. Talk to me about that decision. Like, what went into that in terms of both academics and athletics that you decided I'm going to come back for that year to go to Illinois Wesleyan?
Yeah, I think it starts with my time at SIU-E. I think I really developed as a post player there. But like we've said in high school, I was a three guard. I was a driver.
Right.
So it was a transition that took a little bit. And honestly, when you guys saw me at Wesleyan, I put a lot of pressure on myself. I was like, wow, I have really big expectations. This is all people know from me. I'm coming from a D1 school. So, and really that was my first year of playing in college, even though I was a junior, you know what I
Sure.
mean?
Right.
So it was kind of a no-brainer coming back for my fifth year because really this is only my third year playing consistent games.
Right.
And I'm really, I don't like saying this, but like I'm proud of myself for being able to just with injury, with mentally, just stuff like that for coming back. I feel so much more mature in the way that
Sure.
I play right now. And my teammates are a huge, huge part of that. And then academically, coming from SIU-E, Wesleyan just didn't really take many of those credits. So I had to take my last year.
Right.
And I'm even overloading this semester in order to graduate in
Wow.
3 years to get a degree.
What
So
will your degree be in, Katie?
I'm majoring in entrepreneurship.
Wow.
So if people don't exactly know what that is, it's basically just a business major with a few added classes on how to start your own business in the future.
That's good. And so why that degree? Like what about starting your own business and kind of being your own boss? What about that excites you?
I think that I value nonprofit work and giving back to the community so much that, um, I mean, of course, there's businesses out there that do that, but I would like to have my own schedule for that and be able to
Sure.
prioritize those things the way I want to. I think, I mean, anybody would really like a schedule where you can be your own boss. So
Absolutely.
it would be living the dream. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
but I
not
think
mad at you.
my next steps outside of college are probably going to be going straight into the business field, whatever it may be. I'm thinking of a rotational program to try to dip my toe in a couple things, and then just see where it goes from there.
That's great. No, hey, that's a great plan. And anytime that you can be your own boss and call the shots, I think that's a good place to be. So good on you. Sounds like you got some academic stuff to grind through this, final stretch. And so good luck on all that. I want to talk a little bit about SIU-E coming to IW. We talked about that a little bit when we had the Brady Bunch episode of the QCast with all 8 of you guys on. But I want to get back into that. So leaving there and transferring to Illinois Wesleyan, just kind of refresh the viewers, if you would, Caite, on what went into that decision. Like why leave there, and then how did you find and pick Illinois Wesleyan?
So I got recruited by a coaching staff in high school. SIUE is only 10 minutes from my house, so they would come
Sure.
to our high school games, and I got to create a really good bond with that coaching staff. After our first year, things were looking really good, and or at least for our relationship, not really for our record. Um, but so they got fired because they hadn't made it to the tournament in a while. Um, so a new coaching staff came in, and they were basically like, everybody's on even playing ground. We're going to see what's happening here. And then after that season, they basically kind of wanted their own players, the people that they recruited. So they were very kind in that process, and they helped me get to Wesleyan. They were incredible with helping with recruiting for many people. So I'm very thankful for that. And even when I go home, I'm able to shoot at that gym and
That's
use their
great.
stuff. So it's a good relationship. No animosity there. It just wasn't a good fit anymore. So yeah, I mean, Coach Smith just got inducted to the Hall of Fame at
Right.
SIUE.
Right. Saw that.
So yeah, so Coach Smith played with someone named Lori Blade. She was the Edwardsville High School coach, and I had a really good relationship with her. We respected each other. So she even put in a little 2 cents to Coach Smith.
That's
So
great.
just networking, just like in the business world. It
Right.
was a good way
You're going to
to,
use those skills when you graduate. I promise you. Those are
yeah,
good lessons that you've learned around how to work with people, communicate with people, all that stuff. And
yeah.
we're glad that you made that decision and it worked out. What's it been like here? I mean, you've been part of great teams. Here you are on a team ranked number 2. Last year, you guys had a big season. What's the? I assume looking back, I assume that you're glad you did all this. But what's the experience been like so far?
I loved it, to be honest. First year, it was just like I said earlier, it was just me getting back on my feet, playing basketball, having fun with it again. That was my main goal, was to have fun. And we ended up winning a couple games too, and so that's always nice. And just through the years, this is my third year at Wesleyan. Just the relationships that we've built on this team, the family atmosphere, unity. It's just been really something special. I know you guys see it on the court, and I know that's really only the time you guys do see us, but we're together every day. And so there's got to be that family atmosphere to bring it all together.
As far as your role on the team, I think you play such an important role because we have a ton of size at the guard positions. We primarily have guards, and we have big guards, right? We have 5'10" guards, but we don't really have anything that resembles a true five. So at 6 feet tall, you're being asked to play kind of the five most of the time. And that means you get matched up a lot with, a lot taller players. It's not often that we see somebody that's enormous, but we see a lot of people that are, 6'2", 6'3" on occasion. And that's tough. What's that like, having to kind of battle in the low post when you're giving up some size down there to some of these teams, like some of the WIAC teams in Wisconsin, or when we run into some of the really tough ranked teams, usually they've got someone that's pretty big.
Yeah. I think it just goes back to trust with our team. It's no surprise that we front the post. I'm smaller. So being behind, they're just going to shoot over me, most likely.
Right.
So we're in front, we're 3/4 denial, we're full fronting sometimes. And we need that backside help. So really it's just that trust between, I'm going to do this if you're going to be there. And I trust that my teammates are going to have my back. It's a little what's the word? Intimidating sometimes. Yes,
Sure.
when you go in, you see like, oh my gosh, she actually is 6'3". She's not lying.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but it all works out. And getting in the weight room, there's not a huge difference usually with strength. It's just usually size and length.
Like the North Central post player, I didn't look on the roster. How tall was she? She looked pretty darn tall on the stream.
I'd give her a nice 6'1", 6'2".
Okay. Yeah, she was, I
Because
mean, she was definitely taller than you, right? I
yeah,
mean, yeah. And she looked like she had a big size advantage in the post. But we have such a unique style that it seems like we kind of neutralize that by making other bigs run up and down the floor. And if we could get the ball in their hands and force turnovers, and it seems to all the system that Coach Smith runs seems to be a system you can run without a five. Is that how you see it after playing in it a few years now?
yeah. And with the run and jump, half of the time the post player is taking the ball out. So I'm matched up with a guard from the start there.
Sure.
So that's why it's so important to have people like Lauren, Mal, Laura, or even Ava gives me, a run for my money at practice, even guarding the post. So
Sure.
it's very nice to, I know I'm not a true five, but to have other teammates that can also guard the five when we do the R&J or we
Right.
get switched. So it's really nice to not feel like it's all on me. I can trust my teammates that if we get switched off, that they can get a stop too.
And the advantage on the other end, I mean, when we're on offense, the fact that you can knock down jump shots is huge, right? You're real good at knocking down like a 15-footer, an 18-footer. So you're able to kind of create space and kind of drag that post out, shoot over. And I think that's kind of your small forward skill set from high school that you're still using offensively. You may start down low, but I think that's such a huge advantage, and that when you're open, you're not afraid to take the shot. You feel very confident to me in watching games. Like you're not afraid to shoot when you're open. Is that how you feel out there?
Yeah, and I think that comes from my teammates and coaches. Sometimes I try to post up down low, but that doesn't go all well sometimes. So Coach V is always on me like, hey, go to the high post, drag her out, shot fake, drive, or shoot that jumper. So and when I don't shoot, I'll tell you, Ava Bardick's the first one that'll come up to me and get mad at me and be like, I passed you the ball, you're open, shoot the ball. I have full confidence in you. Yes, ma'am. So
That's
yeah,
that
it's nice to have confidence that my teammates are going to back me up and coaches.
you, but in fairness, you do have a lot of big post moments in the Wheaton game that I remember tweeting out. I think it was Ava that made a super underrated post entry to you. I think it was an over the top where you caught it and like finished on the left side with your left hand, I want to say, which was a huge basket in the moment. Fourth quarter, we were up, but not up a ton. So I mean, you do seem pretty comfortable for someone that didn't grow up playing down there. It seems like when you're down there, I think the game at Carroll, you also, I want to say, had a really big game around the basket, if I'm recall, it was like an early December game. But do you feel comfortable down there when you have the ball trying to figure out how to score on the low blocks?
I do, yeah, and I would give a lot of credit to Kate Bowman, our GA. Her coming in this year, her being a post player and just giving me so much insight this year, it's made me a lot more comfortable. She always tells me it's about angles, it's about just
Right.
all the little stuff in the footwork. So it's made me a lot more comfortable down there, to be honest.
Talk a little bit, if you would, Katie, about like the depth of this team. That's something I've asked everyone else about. And every game, it just plays itself out more and more. So many different combinations that Coach Smith can go in a game. What is it like to play on a team where you never really know who the leading scorer is going to be? You never really know who the superstar is going to be in that game. It's just such a crazy deep team. What's that like to play on?
It's like relieving because you don't have to be the player that you do it all yourself. You can, if the other team has a really good defender, or maybe they even have two, there's still three people on the court that can
Sure.
have a day. So, I mean, sometimes it's whether someone's having a good shooting night or not, but other times it's just, I don't know who has the mismatch, who has the
Right.
advantage. So it's so nice to be able to um, get everybody get the recognition that they deserve. You know what I mean? We're all
Absolutely.
great players and could have a 15 to 20 point night any day. So us just being unselfish and not caring about who scores the most points, we're just right there to support one of our teammates when they do it.
Yeah, I thought the best example was like earlier in the year, the game at Wash U, we were down and we needed to force turnovers and get some things going. And that turned a little more into a let's go small and play Sawyer Whitemore game. And then it was like the very next game or the one after where all of a sudden you were back playing heavy, heavy minutes in more of a like let's go big lineup. And so to me, that's a huge advantage because in the tournament, in the NCAA tournament, which we are 100% going to play in, um, there are going to be teams that have all kinds of styles. We're going to face a small, quick team one night. And then if we advance, we're going to play a team with a big post. And I mean, do you feel that same way, Katie, that we can kind of match up with most of the styles that we would see out there?
Yeah, 100%. And none of us take it personally. We know that, oh, if it's a guard lineup, like I want Sawyer to be on their point guard and give her nightmares, is like
Ugh,
Coach Smith says, and she does. But yeah, it's just so nice to know that we can go big and we can go small and just throw out many different things at other teams. So
it's primarily an 8-person rotation, but I'm noticing lately, like in the Wheaton game, Sophie Feeney got in there just a little bit. It was like 2 minutes, and then yesterday, I noticed she was in there in a game that was fairly close. Um, is Sophie someone that like in practice is kind of coming on because it seems like she's getting more opportunities to get on the floor every now and then. What's she bringing to the table that you're seeing?
yeah, I think, I mean, she came from volleyball this year, so
Right.
she comes in late and has to learn all the plays right away, and we have a lot. So I can't imagine how much pressure that would be, but she handled it so well, and she's just a really good listener. I think she knows that she doesn't have to come on the court and do anything major. She's just got to be steady and rebound, make good passes, and that's all it's to it. Like she just has to listen to what Coach Smith tells her to do, and I think she's done a great job at doing that.
She was a stud like multi-sport athlete in high school, and good point about coming in so late from volleyball where she's got to now pick up everything late. Um, in terms of what's next here, Katie, you've got Carthage this Wednesday. So the guys go down to Milliken. You guys host Carthage at the Shirk Center. I know you haven't done any of your Carthage prep yet. You've played them a few times now in your career. Any initial thoughts on what that matchup will be like with the Firebirds Wednesday?
Well, I know that they have a newer coach, if I'm correct on that. And I know other coaches in the conference have been coaching against Coach Smith for how long? Know her inside out.
Right.
They know good press breaks. So I'm just interested to see what this coach is going to do. I'm confident that we can handle it. I know that they have really good players. They just graduated some last year. So yeah, I'm interested to see what they have. Like you said, we haven't really looked at the scout yet. We like to take these games one at a time.
Right.
But I'm as confident as ever.
Yeah, it's a bit they're all big games at this point. Obviously, we're 6-0. We're out in front, but that gap in the standings still isn't very wide. It's not like a comfortable margin at this point. So as you know, every game ends up being huge, and it also ends up being huge in terms of the that NPI computer model that now kind of controls everything. Just a couple more things for you, Caite, and I really appreciate your time. Um, I think I asked this a little bit during that group episode, but I want to, that it's timely at this point now. Advice for kids that are getting recruited, because you got recruited at the D1 level. I'm sure that if a D1 got you, I'm sure there were D2s and D3s that wanted you too. Um, Not trying to steer this question to like why would you pick, why should you pick D3? What would you tell kids that are trying to sort out where the best fit is for them? Let's say that really talented player that's got some D1 sniffing around, some D2s, some great D3s. Well, how does a high school kid sort that out and figure out how to make a decision?
I think one thing that I wish I would have done is played more travel basketball. I actually only played one summer before senior year. And so I kind of wish that I would have had more options, to be honest. I know there's a lot more teams out there now, so I'm sure that's not a problem for many people.
Right.
But I would just say really feel out your options. And just because a coach is good at recruiting doesn't really mean that they have a good culture within behind closed doors. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think culture and team atmosphere is the number one thing that I would tell someone to dig into. Ask around, go do an overnight, um, just really, really get to know who these people are outside of basketball because you need good friends, you need a family atmosphere there. It's your life for 4 years, so don't take it lightly. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's what I would tell. Yeah.
It's great advice. It's very similar to what Marco Anderson said just a couple hours ago here on the show. Is kind of like, the coaching staff, the culture, the environment, very, very similar feedback. By the way, did you see the men's game? Did you guys check out that triple overtime craziness after your game?
Yes, I went out to eat with my family after the game, so I missed most of it. And I came back. I was like, oh, there's 3 minutes left. I'll watch. And then I ended up staying for the three overtimes, of
Oh,
course.
was that not the craziest? Like someone told me that the final 3 minutes of regulation and then into overtime, it was for 15 game minutes. It was a one possession game. And there was these crazy amount of like lead changes and things. So I think you'll agree that was a heck of a win by the guys. And North Central was making some big time shots in that one.
They were, yeah. I saw a tweet because now I'm looking because,
Now you're back.
now I'm back. But there was a couple of times that they were like, you just have to tip your hat at that shot because it was great defense
Oh,
and they just made incredible shots. So
yeah. I mean, they
to be
played
able to
great.
keep your head is just, that was impressive by them.
One more question on my end, and then we'll see what final thoughts that you have. But the state of women's basketball, I think, has changed a lot in the last like 3 to 5 years. Like in the amount of time that you've been in college, especially with like everything that's happened related to Caitlin Clark and what she did at Iowa, and now what she's doing in the WNBA. What is your take on kind of the women's game and how it's exploded and how much popularity there is to it now? Is that something that you pay attention to, or just kind of talk through how you observe all that stuff that's happening?
Yeah. I actually have a funny thing from SIU-E. Coming into my first season, one of my coaches had played at Tennessee and for Pat Summit. And that was actually my second year at SIU. And I was like, who is Pat Summit? And they were all so mad at me. I was like, who is he? Or like I thought it was a man coach. And I was like, I know I'm embarrassed to even say this, but that's how far my knowledge has come from my first or second year in college to now. Um, I was a soccer girl growing up, so I didn't really pay attention
Sure.
to college basketball much or women's basketball because I kind of grew up and only the parents come to the games. So it's just really cool how they're filling stadiums now
Oh yeah.
and how Caitlin Clark, love her or hate her, she's amazing. She's a great player. So I just think it's really cool how not only her, but now I even know like 30 people from the WNBA right now.
Right. Right.
And I'm watching it for other reasons now too.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's amazing, and I think it's really cool that I didn't grow up having, stands filled, and now I get to go watch girls play or women play. So it's just really cool to see.
It's definitely cool now that there's storylines, like you seems like you got to be a Caitlin Clark person or an Angel Reese person. You got to kind of pick a side there. And then there's all these other things that are going on where it's like it's good for the sport because people are paying attention. There's tons of eyes on it. One other thing I wanted to ask you about, there was an article written about Coach Smith recently, and I think it was by a WGLT thing, if I'm not mistaken, where they featured that cool tradition you guys do, where at 4 minutes before the game, you go up in the stands and you guys like say hi, you hug your family members and that kind of thing. And I've always, whenever I'm at games and I see that, I'm like, that's such a cool thing. And it was nice to see it in this article. I'm just curious to get your take on that. Like, what does that mean to you guys? That little like it's quick, right? You got to run up there and you got like a minute or two, and then you got to get back down for starting lineups. But what is that tradition like for you?
I just think it's so special and so sweet. That was one of the big things for me when I heard that they were doing that when I was getting recruited. I was like, that is just so nice that yes, you're dialed into the game, but you can also be appreciative for the people that come and see you and support you every day. Um, so I love it. I love going to hug my parents, but then I think it's really cute that I hug all the other girls' parents or
Right.
the cousins that come and friends, and it just brings us all together. And some people might not like it and think that we get um, like we aren't focused, but I think it just brings it all together. It's just who we are.
Yeah, I mean, some people might think that, but who cares? It's
Yeah,
really, really cool. I would say that like it's like a YD3. It's just there's just more perspective, I think, in D3, and I don't think you'd see that in another level. In other levels, you probably can't get from the bench up to the stands anyway, right? Like, based on the stadium, you can't just walk up the stairs.
so
So,
true.
um, but this has been really great, Caite, and I appreciate that. I'll ask you for your final thoughts to close this out. I'll just say, it's been great watching you play, and so glad that you came back for a fifth year. Such an important part of the team in the role you play because you're different than everyone else on the team. Like Laura provides size too, but she's even more perimeter than you are. Like you're really good down defensively in the post and offensively as well. And I know that hasn't been your natural position, so you've learned it really impressively. And congrats, 15-0, 6-0. I know Coach Smith is going to give it to you in practice. So like good luck with that. Listen to Coach Smith. She knows what she's talking about. But as the podcaster, I mean, I couldn't be more proud. I watch you guys every game. And like that game yesterday, it was 3 points. So I was like, they're okay. They're gonna be okay. You're gonna get the ball, make some free throws here. You guys are a special team. You're fun to watch. You play so hard, and the word relentless has come up. You guys have been in some kind of tough situations where you've battled back from. And look, at some point, one of those games will go the other direction on it. Some tough league game somewhere, something will go wrong. But, the fact you've been in those battles, just a pleasure to watch. What would you leave us with, Caite, on the QCast? Certainly you'll have Titan Nation tuning in, D3 Hoops Nation. I suspect some random people from Collinsville High School are going to check this out. What would you leave us with, Caite Knutson, on the QCast?
I'm just so thankful for all the support that we're getting. You covering all eight of us and the coaches, I'm sure, and tuning into every game. It's just, it's incredible to see that people care about women's basketball, like we were talking about a second ago. It's really rewarding that 15-0 is something that's really big and something we're going to continue to um, just grow. And we have big dreams and we have big goals. And I'm gonna say it, I want to win a national championship. So it's just that's our goal and we're gonna work hard every single day. So I appreciate the people that only see us on game days that support us and the people that we talk to weekly and nightly with like our parents and stuff. So whoever's tuning in right now, I just really appreciate your support and thank you guys so much.
And I'm glad that you want to win a national championship. Marco Anderson said the same thing, and I'll say the same thing I did to him, which is you should feel that way. It's not often that a team should be saying that kind of thing. The team you have right now, you should be saying that. Like, there are great teams out there. Like, NYU is unbelievable. They're the favorite. I get it. Scranton's unbelievable. Oshkosh. But I would take our chances teeing it up with anybody. I would take our chances that we can compete with anybody and would have a chance to win a game against anyone. So I think you guys should be thinking that. It's that kind of team. Caite, I really appreciate it. I look forward to being up at the Shirk here before too long to see you guys play in person. Watching streams is kind of frustrating. You feel like you're totally disconnected. So we'll see you up at the Shirk soon, and I really appreciate you making time to do this.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'll see you soon.
Thanks.